Hello my friends and welcome back to Italy, a place to love YouTube channel. Now, today I want to talk about the housing market and the property market here in Italy. So, we just turned into 2025 and so I want to kind of give you my analysis and my forecast about how the things are moving at the moment, what they're saying on the news, and my impression and my feelings about the housing market. Now, where to start? Let me start from what the media are saying. So basically, at the moment here in Italy, we have an housing market that is kind of moving, so there are no big complaints, which, for example, we find in the luxury market. Now, the the luxury houses market is kind of working well. This is what they are saying on the media, but this is also my impression. For example, I have the feeling, there is the kind of sensation that, for example, in posh areas or in the big cities like Milan, Rome, and Naples, for example, now there are selling better the luxury houses, are selling better the houses, very expensive houses, for example. So I believe, for example, that there are a lot of people who have money at the moment, maybe because a lot of investments have been doing very well. I can talk, for example, about the stock market or about the cryptocurrencies, for example. So people who had invested money in the last 2 3 years, I say they might have had a good return, and these made them because this reason. So they make a good profit, and better than keeping the money in the bank, for example, even if the banks are giving a kind of interest at the moment, so that are not very low. So it could be kind of half convenient to keep some money in the bank, but not to keep everything, for example. And so basically what I'm thinking is that wealthy people who have a good amount of money, or I can even say plenty of money, they're looking for properties to buy. Now, they are looking for properties to buy here in Italy, but not only, because anyway, big investors, people who have money, might find as well opportunities abroad. I was watching yesterday few videos, for example, about investing in Dubai, investing in Canary Islands, investing in Spain, or different parts of the world, even Thailand, for example, but basically luxury house market. So we are talking about people who have a good amount of money, don't want to keep this money in the bank, and so it's very understandable to say better to invest in a property, um, even if, for example, we can say that the housing prices is a kind of in a bubble. According to me, for example, there is a kind of bubble in the housing investment, because we all see that the prices are quite high wherever you want to buy. If you want to buy in Germany, if you want to buy in UK, if you want to buy in Ireland, if you want to buy in the United States. So in Italy, we all see that the prices are kind of high, but the forecast, if I have to give a forecast about my impression, I might say I don't really see the prices dropping, big drop straight away, because I can still see anyway that the things are moving kind of, in particular for this luxury market, and this luxury market is bringing a lot of money into the house market. And so basically I can still see a kind of increasing of the property value, that which is not bad, and also is related because the rents are increasing. So if we put all these two things together, for example, okay, the rents are going up, obviously it's still convenient to buy a property. Then, about now, I spent few words about the luxury house market. But, for example, what about now average people? We talk about a minority of people who have money and they can invest abroad in Italy and putting on a rental income, for example, these properties on Airbnb or bed and breakfast or guest houses. So the trend is still positive. Then we have the average people. So let's talk a bit about average people. Average people are facing a bit more problems to buy a property. And the first reason is because interest rates are kind of high. Not very high, because 3, 4, 5, for me even up to 6%, I cannot say that interest rates are very high, even if the monthly payment might take a big part of your salary. So that's why, for example, the average properties are a bit slowing down, according to me. So the sales of an apartment, the sales of a normal house, of an average house. So this market is not moving very, very well, according to me. Even if there are still people who are interested to buy, for example, a family who is thinking, okay, I'd rather pay a mortgage rather than paying a rent, for example, for me, this makes a lot of sense. So if a family is doing their calculation and saying, okay, I'm paying, for example, in Milan, let's take Milan or Rome, where an average rent could be between 200 and 1500 for a family. We are talking about a family. So if my rent is 1200 or 1500 and then my mortgage is 8, 900, 1000, up to 1200 is still, I mean, I'd say is more convenient than to buy a property, because it's always better to buy a property with the same money. If I'm paying the rent, I mean, this property will never be mine. But if I'm paying the mortgage, a 20, 25 years, 30 years mortgage, this property one day will be mine. Obviously, until we don't finish to pay the mortgage, that house, that property is not really our property, but there is a contract, and month by month, year by year, so this property one day will become mine. And so this is a kind of this market, anyway, according to me, is moving a bit less, in particular because probably there is the problem with the banks that are not really giving um, big mortgages. I'd say the banks at the moment are a bit tightening the mortgages situation, the mortgages trend, because then if the salaries, for example, are not increasing, and we see that, for example, in Italy, salaries are not increasing at all, the kind of stable, and this is a problem of Italy, stable for the last 20 years. But even if in UK, for example, if you have your salary growing at 2, 3, or 5% a year, but the properties are growing at 10% a year, then it's gonna be harder and harder for me to apply for a mortgage. And in particular, not only to apply for a mortgage, but to apply for a mortgage for the house that I love, for the house that I want to see myself inside this house, in living this house. Because if I have to compromise, let's say, and I have to buy a property, a cheaper property, in a suburban area of any town in UK, of any city in UK, but for example, it's not really what I want, so then I'm in between. Should I go for the property that I love but I cannot afford, and so I don't go for now? Or should I compromise and go and still paying kind of good amount of money, even if the property is not the best on the planet, but the bank, for example, is allowing me to have this amount of money? And so for me to purchase that property, at least in that scenario, I'm compromising. I'm not really buying the house of my dreams. Even if, for example, I'm always pushing and recommending people to buy the house of their dreams, because we are here not only to live the life, but also to dream, also to try to make our life better day by day. So this might not be very, very easy, but it's something that I believe everyone is working towards that direction. So that's why, for example, anyway, the house market for average people is slowing a bit down. Banks are not giving um, maybe the mortgages that I would like. For example, there is a house for 300,000 euro, but the bank, according to my salary and according to uh, my collaterals, for example, because you might have collaterals to put aside and say, okay, I have to the bank just to have a bigger mortgage. But if the bank is saying no, so that turns a bit into a complicated situation. So I'd say that also the properties for sale are a bit increasing. They're slightly increasing, not massively increasing. I mean, I don't see a lot of new properties listed online, but is increasing. This trend is increasing. Also, I noticed, for example, for me that I study the house market from the morning till the evening, I might say that there are properties that are listed for very long time. I mean, for a very long period, let me say 1 year, 2 years. If a house is listed for the last 2 years and is not selling, I mean, we should ask to ourselves a few questions. So why the house, for example, is not selling? What's wrong with that house? Or maybe they're asking too much. Um, or maybe in that area the properties are not really wanted, maybe because there's no job in the surrounding area. So a lot of things to put all together. It's not very easy to understand what the trend of the housing market is going. Just to make the point, to go back to the beginning, I'm forecasting a 2025 where I'm seeing still prices increasing. Um, in particular for the luxury houses market. The other one, they might stay stable, but could be, how can I say, the offer, for example, might increase and demand might not really decrease. So my demand might not really increase. So this might keep, for example, the prices for average houses kind of stable but not decreasing. Then everything is a big question mark. We are living in let's say in particular times. Many things are happening every day. So we are all with our eyes on the news to see what happened today and what is going to happen tomorrow. So obviously, if the things are staying as they are, with, for example, stock market and Bitcoin keep going higher, that will give more money, more return to some people who are investing, that I say they are the minority. But this might give more money to them and more chances, for example, to invest in properties, simply because I'd say that it's much better to invest in a property than keeping the money in the bank. I'd say I would invest personally if I have a lot of money. I would think about investing, but at the same time, I'm also thinking that we are kind of in a bubble. We are in a situation where the prices are very high. Now, there are a lot of things to follow. For example, I understood very well from the 2008 recession what happened with the banks in the United States. Banks went bankrupt. People were not start job losses. People were not able to pay back their mortgages. They lost their houses, and that crashed. All the price crashed, and then it started a new cycle, new opportunity. Basically, me, if you watched up the video up to now, me, I'm focusing more on this very last option. So I'm concerned about the financial situation. So I'm at the window. I'm staying here, trying to understand what's going on in the market, in the stock market, the economical and financial global situation. We see that a lot of things are happening. So we have to put all these dots together then to see the image, what is going to be the image, for example, now in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. Again, I don't think in 2025 we're gonna face this. This is my personal opinion because I still see a good trend on the stock market, and this it won't create. But then we have to think about the situation of the bank, the condition of the banks. Hopefully, it's not gonna happen again what happened in 2008, but just to close the video, to stay always on full alert and to understand what the dynamics are. Now, for example, Italy, we didn't suffer much in the 2008 recession. Italy, the price of the houses didn't decrease at all. They maybe lost a 5%, not comparing to UK, United States, or Ireland that I witnessed losing more than 50%. Italy has its own system. From this point of view, I see safer, but now we are all in the same boat, and so we are all trying to understand. Maybe things changed from the 2008 up to now in 2025. Maybe Italy went on the same boat. It depends the protection from the bank's point of view. And so this was kind of my analysis for 2025. I try to describe you the picture of this housing market, that I keep my eyes wide open to understand what's going on, and so on. So you know very well that my channel mainly is based on property markets, so housing market. I keep studying. I'm trying to give you to show you how much properties cost, and to give you also a recap time to time. Anyway, I touch all different things about, for example, buying a property in Italy. Might be convenient, might not. So it all depends, because we are all different and we all have different needs. So this is what is important to understand, to focus on our goals and to stay at the window to understand what's going on in the world and in the financial market, economical global situation, and so on. And this is my understanding of the situation here nowadays in Italy and abroad, not only here, because for me it's also important to understand how the dynamics are moving all together worldwide. Okay, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you here on Italy, a Place to Love YouTube channel on my next video tomorrow. So like I usually do, a video a day. And so stay tuned, and I'll see you here on Italy, a Place to Love YouTube channel. Bye!